So right now I have some of the biggest news that I have ever put on my channel, and probably one of the biggest pieces or articles that has came across the drag racing or street racing scene in my generation at least. The OG MURDERNOVA is for sale, and for $115,000 Sean has decided to get rid of the most influential cars and well-known cars in drag racing today. I will go over what they have listed, goes with the car, or the specs of the car in just a second. But before I do that, let's talk about real quick what the MURDERNOVA is. As you know, Street Outlaws is probably the biggest thing that happened to drag racing since the 50s or 60s. Drag racing became a sponsored sport, and a tax write-off, a couple of decades ago. Before Street Outlaws became mainstream, drag racing had pretty well been forgot about by the average person. Street Outlaws and the iconic cars of Street Outlaws, the guys on that top 10 list, and the one who has held it the longest, the OG MURDERNOVA, is probably one of the most iconic cars in drag racing, period. It is insanely fast and has held the title of the fastest street car in the world for longer than anyone else on this earth. For that car to be for sale is a huge milestone in the automotive and racing world, and it is something that I just really did not see happening. He built the new car a couple of years ago and had mild success with it in the beginning, with winning a real legit cash days, and then the car has kind of hit and miss since, as far as the public eye has seen. But to me, there is no replacement for the OG car. You think about it, those cars on that show really has revolutionized drag racing as a whole. Everybody who is into it and has done it forever knows the love between racing and cars and everything that goes along with it. But for an iconic car like this to come up on market is unheard of, insane, and usually don't happen until somebody dies, to be honest with you. The OG MURDERNOVA is probably single-handedly the best example of what has brought drag racing back mainstream today. Before I even watched Street Outlaws, I knew who MURDERNOVA was. I knew the car when it come on the show. When people started talking about it, the first thing they say was, yeah, the MURDERNOVA car. And I'm not just talking about people who are into Street Outlaws and watchers of Street Outlaws, or people that watch my channel, or I'm talking about the entire drag racing community. This car is iconic. Everyone knows what it is, where it come from, and the significance of the car. I just really can't believe that Sean is selling the car. I understand that $115,000 is a lot of money and could probably go a long way with a lot of things in his life, including getting the new one better. But to get rid of that car is unheard of. That would be like selling one of your kids. And I just didn't see it coming, totally unexpected. And the OG MURDERNOVA has got to be easily the most recognizable car in today's drag racing, especially the mainstream that everyone knows. I'm talking about the average guy and the people who has found their love for drag racing through Street Outlaws. And while Street Outlaws, you may want to say, is not what it used to, it's not as good and all that, what it has done for the sport can never be changed. Street Outlaws, without it, we wouldn't have no Prep Kings, and no prep racing would not be near what it is today. It would not be as mainstream, and there wouldn't be as many people jumping in it head first like there is today. All these guys that you see would still be at their local track racing for, $50 or a hot dog or whatever the track may be giving, and their own little tracks point system. That is all that the cars that you see on the show would be doing today are sitting in a garage somewhere collecting dust. With all of that being said, I want to read what they have listed with the car. On the screen right now is a screenshot of a page on Instagram that is titled Muscle Car Mayhem, which is run by someone at Midwest Street Cars. And the ad says, the price and all that, and a list of everything that is done with the car or comes with the car. And I'll go over some of the stuff that that jumps out, the big stuff. 115,000 or best offer. The email address midweststreetcarsauto@gmail.com. It's currently set up with 275s on a double beadlock weld wheel, come with the stuff to run 29.5s. Everything to swap over to big tires. It's a Proline 572 big block Chevrolet with dart heads, hyper control boost controller. It's a race pack data logger. New Precision Pro Mod 88s with 5 passes on them. That's brand new turbos. McCamus fab rear end housing. It's a 4-link car, obviously. Factory front frame rails, stock firewall, stock floor pans, TRZ front suspension, it's fiberglass front clip, doors, and deck lids, Rossler 3-speed, Pro Torque converter, lots of carbon interior, tubs, trunk, etc. Car has been 430s at 170 on big tires and 420s at 178 on radials. And while radials, that's half a second off of what everybody that is in the top 16 on radials is running, that's a very respectable, insane respectable number, and could more than likely get down into where they are running with the car. The car has proven itself for a decade that it is a top contender in anything that it does. Just insane to me what is actually for sale, and while that is an insane amount of money, I don't think that there could actually be a price put on the car. So, in my opinion, $115,000, somebody's getting an insane deal, and I don't even know if the car should be in someone else's hands to be tore up. It will not mean the same thing with someone else piloting it. That's all I have to say. This video was random and out of the ordinary. I'm working on actually 2 more I've got done, but this popped up today, and I'm going to throw this in front of the other 2 and try to get all 3 of them done in the next day, along with a live video. Anything you want me to know, say, do, have, JEASTRACING@gmail.com. All my giveaways are still going. P.O. Box 431, Jacksonville, Alabama 36265. And thank you for watching. Godspeed. Have a good day.